my friends? It is yours truly, Jack Billings, coming to you from no other than the Shed Knife Shop. Happy June 2nd, my dear friends and loyal Shed Knives enthusiasts. I have to say, first things first, you guys have been absolutely killing it these past few weeks. You guys have been just completely loyal, completely dedicated, and just headed out into the field with your knives, with your fixed blades, and more importantly, headed out with your knives from Shed Knives. And I am extremely thankful, very grateful for each and every one of you who takes the time to support Shed Knives in various ways, whether you're liking a video or you're using your knife in the field. Very different ends there. Okay, a like is easy, but going out and challenging your wilderness survival techniques, that's a completely different point of view, a very different background there that an individual has. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, my dealers and distributors have been absolutely killing it. Nobody is working harder than the Shed Knives community, and especially me. I've said this before. Ask any one of my friends who's the hardest working individual in the group, and they will all say me. And I believe we should all be that way. We should all strive for constant improvement and constant effort and discipline, because without that, what do you have? So I've been called to work. I've been called to do better and better each day, to train hard, to do those push-ups, to do those sit-ups, to make those knives. And that is what the Shed Knives community is about. Being stronger, physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it, being strong, being fit, being ready for battle, ready for action. Now, let's look at the Skure Light. These knives are live. I have 4 of them available on shedknives.com. This, my friends, is the Skure Light, the mini, the 1.6 ounce mini skeleton knife. I love it. This knife has the hollow grind on it in 154 cm steel. And why the hollow grind? I could have picked any other grind. Well, the hollow grind, it helps keep that edge super sharp and slicey. Different blade angles and shapes and geometries, all of it grouped together makes a very different edge compared to taking different angles, different shapes, different heights, all of that stuff. And you can make very different knives just by adjusting a few numbers and a few degrees. So the hollow grind, that makes a very slicey edge at this particular angle and with this particular thickness in steel. It's about a 1/4 inch thick, my friends, and this knife is ready for battle. It might be small, might be a small little blade, might be 1.6 ounces, but don't worry, it gets the job done, probably more than you think. And it also comes with this nice Kydex sheath. It clicks in really well, so you just pop it in, bang. And just a pro tip for you guys, look at how this is. The blade is pointing up, the spine is down. Put some pressure on the spine, not where the blade is. Put some pressure down and slide out. That way you can get this knife out a little bit easier. Otherwise, if you push up, that blade's just going to get stuck in this little part of the sheath. And that's intentional. That's so this knife can stay locked in upside down. You can wear it as a neck knife. You can throw it in your pocket like that. You can put it in your bag. You can wear it on your hip if you want. Throw an ulti clip on there. So this knife is fantastic. And just for reference, it's $75 on shedknives.com. It comes with free USA shipping. So if you're in the US, if you're in Alaska, if you're in Pennsylvania, it doesn't matter. You get free USA shipping on this. So anyways, guys, go check that out. Those are live. I actually only have 11 knives in stock, believe it or not. And that's because my loyal Shed Knives enthusiasts, my end users, my absolute killers, they have been getting it done. They've been demanding more and more knives. I was joking with a friend the other day. I said, if I make 10 knives, I sell 12. If I make 12 knives, I sell 15. And if I make 15, I sell 20. It's like this gap that can never be met. And I'm so thankful for it, because there's so many other companies that do not work as hard. There's so many other individuals who do not strive for this much excellence and improvement and greatness. And to have a team of like-minded enthusiasts of both knives and the outdoors to come together as a team, as a unit, as a group, and we can all be the best in our own particular field. What more could you ask for? That is fantastic, my friend. So I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. It might sound cheesy saying, thank you for your support. Wow, yay, you guys are awesome. But I'm so serious. People say it just because it sounds good. I say it because I mean it. If you guys have been following me and you know that I say it how it is. If something needs to be said, I will say it. Doesn't matter if it fits the narrative of society or it does not. It does not matter if the news, our mainstream media, supports it or they do not. If it needs to be said, I will say it, no doubt about that. So, knives. I will feature one more knife, and then I haven't gotten political in a bit. And now that it is allegedly Pride Month, believe it or not, I will talk about that here in a second. And because I think you guys know where this is going to go, but I will highlight it. I will talk about shed knives, why my slogan went from made with pride to there is no substitute. And by the way, just heads up, made with pride has no correlation with Pride Month. So we'll talk about all that stuff here in a second, but before I do, this is the 2025 Shed Knives Resilience. A lot of you guys love this knife more in the hunting sphere of things, and it just makes a great knife. How your hand locks onto it, and I gotta say, it's a really wonky looking design. It's a really wacky just style. The blade, just all of it, it's all curved except down here there's 1, 2, and 3 like straight lines on this knife, but as far as I can tell, everything else has some sort of a curve to it. So this here is the Resilience. I will mention that all of these knives are engraved. You can see that there. Since my heat treat has gone a little bit darker, it's provided a bit darker of a finish, my engraving is a little bit harder to find in there, so I'm working on getting a new laser engraver. I currently use somebody out of house. It's really in his house. It's a friend of mine. I use his, and I'm looking to get one for myself, so that way I can provide slightly better engravings, and I can do them also in-house, which will just save more time. So anyways, guys, this is a Resilience. Comes with a nice sheath, and this sheath is really nice because it comes with this nice click in there, so it clicks right in this little spot, and you can keep this knife upside down, again, on your person, on your bag, all of it. It's all great stuff. So this is a Resilience. I have 2 of these in Coyote Tan. This is the Coyote Tan pattern. I like it. I like the rugged look for it. If you are somebody who gets your gear dirty and gritty and muddy, me, the Coyote Tan definitely helps out. So these 2 knives I thought I would show you guys. Now, it's allegedly Pride Month. I gotta talk about it here for a second. All right, at Shed Knives, I will not be supporting Pride Month. I will not be taking part of it. I will not be changing my logo to the rainbow, which it's not even the real rainbow, okay? But anyways, guys, I will not be participating in that. And why is that? Well, it's because I lead my business and I lead my life with a very biblical perspective, all right? And I try and be more and more Christ-like as we go on. Obviously, there are things I still struggle with, and nobody's perfect. We as humans are flawed individuals, but we can continue to strive for being better and better people. So with that said, the Bible clearly states that any of this gay, transgender, man on man, woman on woman, all of this stuff is not okay. It is not acceptable. And even if you're not a Christian, you don't live your life with a biblical perspective, than, or biblical point of view, scientifically, it just does not make sense. Genetically, it does not make sense. Okay, how can a man and a man reproduce? You can't. How can a woman and a woman reproduce just by themselves? You can't. So scientifically, it just doesn't make sense as well. It allows for so many just weaknesses to come into your life when you take part in those activities. Now, I will say this, even though as of 2025, 9.3% of the US population identifies either LGBTQ something, they identify with one of those letters. And just for reference, my younger generation, Gen Z folks, 30% of them identify with that. So on behalf of the Gen Z people, I am very sorry. My goodness, I have no clue what that 30% is up to. It's disappointing, but I'll say this, guys. Love the sinner, not the sin, okay? Just as maybe a friend or a family member, what if they were addicted to drugs? You would still love the individual, but not the actions that they're doing. And I believe that. Somebody can be gay. You can still love that person, but you just don't need to love that they are gay. And I think we've got it twisted a little bit. I think we're starting to like when people are gay, and not in a gay way, you know what I'm saying, but in a political mainstream media, when people are gay, it's like good. It's like a badge of honor. Woo! Yay! The more lesbian and tranny people, the better. Yay! No. We can love the individual, we can care for them, we can try and help them to do better, to become stronger, to be more physically fit, to become more mentally resilient, but we just don't need to love that gay, the sin about that. Same for me. If let's just say speed. Let's just say I like to pass the speed limit on a regular basis. You can love me as an individual, you just don't have to love that part, okay? And there's always things we can do to be better, and that's honestly what I'm trying to get at, folks. Be gay if you want, just not here, not my thing. It's not for Shed Knives. And part of why I changed my slogan from Made with Pride to There Is No Substitute is because this is not reason number one, but since we're on the subject, we'll just talk about it first. I notice a lot of people during June were like, oh, is this a gay reference? Made with Pride? Is this gay? And that hit a nerve with me every single time. And I was not for that. I did not need my knives or my brand or really all the things I just worked so hard for. I did not want them to be associated with that. And like, yeah, no thank you. So Made with Pride, it sounded a little too gay during the month of June, so I changed it to There Is No Substitute. Now, the main reason is Made with Pride, I saw as more of the process. They're being made with an intention behind them, with pride in the product, with a desire of greatness in the product. That's the process. The result from that is There Is No Substitute. And I thought, let's focus on more of the result with things rather than the process. Yes, a process is great, but I want to tell you guys things that are done, not when I'm doing them. So There Is No Substitute is a result. Made with Pride is a process. So I brought those things together and I was like, which one's better? There Is No Substitute. And it doesn't just sound better, it is the truth. It's real. If something sounded worse but it was the truth, I guess I'd have to stick with it. So that's what I'm getting at here. So I will also say, I'm gonna say it, if you see gay knife companies, do not support them. At least that's something I will be doing. If I see any other knife brand, which I gotta say, as a knife community, we don't really deal with that stuff, but if I see some brands coming out with their support for that, and maybe I have supported them in some way, I'll be pulling that back. I will be pulling far from that brand, far from that company, because I do not need to be associated with that. And like I said, it gave some numbers. Baby boomers, 7% of them identify with the LGBTQ, I'll just call it like the basket, okay? We'll group all of the identities into one. So they identify as 7% of them. Millennials, 16% of them. Gen Z, 30% of them. This is coming from PRRI, Public Religion Research Institute. You can look them up, do a bunch of statistics, surveys, all that stuff. 2020, 5.6% of the US population identified as that. 2024, 4 years later, it went up 2%. So now it's 7.6%. But get a load of this. 2025, 9.3% of the US population identifies as that bundle of things, LGBTQ, one or the other. So, and that 9.3% is made up, 4.4% is bi. So that's the biggest one. Gay and everything else is 1% or less. So I do find it a bit weird that we have a whole month associated with people liking somebody. It's a little, I don't know, I find it a little odd. I find it strange. Like, whatever you decide to do in your relationship, why do we need to have parades about that? It's a little gay. Gay jokes, I love it. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to make that clear. I do not want there to be any confusion, because I believe that stuff it's not okay. Now, like I said, we can love the sinner, not the sin. We can love the individual, but not the things they do. And that's where I stand. And I do not support that stuff here at Shed Knives. So if you're looking for a brand, if you're looking for a company, and if you're looking for an individual who does not stand for that weakness in modern society, well, welcome to the club. Welcome to Shed Knives. So folks, I will continue to train, I will continue to make knives, and I will continue to be better and better as an individual, so that way we can all win even more on a daily basis, and just continue to just get to it, because that's what matters most, my friends. What are we if we're not working, if we're not striving for excellence, if we're not getting better, if we're not headed into the field to just do wilderness survival skills, build shelters, start fires, just train, be ready for whatever comes our way? Who are we if we're not doing that stuff, my friends? So I challenge you through the month of June. Avoid the weakness, avoid the vices, avoid all the stuff that is trying to bring you under. It's trying to capture you to be weak in today's weak society. Avoid those things with all of your strength and just win. Get to work, get to training, do the best in all you do. If you have a family, be the best you can be for your family. If you don't have a family, be the best you can for yourself and for your community and for your society. I saw a quote the other day, and I'll end with this. The downfall of civilization starts with the individual. If you want to be a loser individual, you will start to degrade society. But if you want to be a winner, which if you're part of Shed Knives, then you're on the path to being even more of a winner. You get to upgrade society. You get to improve society. So the downfall, remember this folks, the downfall of civilization starts with the individual. So do not be that individual. Be the person who strives for excellence, who strives to be a winner, and nothing but greatness will be a result of that. Yes, it will be tough. Yes, it will be just a pain at times, but we need it. We need the struggle, my friends, my dear brothers and sisters here of Shed Knives. So, I think I've said enough. It's time to get to work. Enjoy your day, your night, whatever time you're watching, and let's get to it. If you like knives, if you want to support the movement, if you want to join Shed Knives even further, go to shedknives.com, check it out today, and I'll say this very last thing about the whole Shed Knives thing. I like this. When you see somebody carrying a knife from Shed Knives, you know, yep, that's a winner. They work hard. They do the right thing. They are a disciplined individual. And when they see you carrying that knife, they're going to be like, yeah, That's a strong person. That's a disciplined individual. They know what they're doing. They're highly trained for outdoor stuff. They're doing better. When you look at somebody carrying an Essie or Tops or something like that, it's just like, oh, that's another knife, whatever. When you see somebody carrying one of my knives, a shed knife or SK knife, shed knives knife, I don't even know what the correct phrasing is with that. But when you see someone carrying one of those knives, like the Resilience, let's pull it out. When you see someone carrying one of these, it's like, yep, that person's strong. That's a tough individual. That person's ready for battle. So my friends, if you want to be that individual, go to shedknives.com, check it out. Father's Day is coming out. Get your dad or that father figure in your life one of these blades. So that's it, my friends. Don't stop winning. Keep working hard and enjoy the outdoors. Let's go!